Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I'm so excited. This is my first video blog, and I blog already on Blogspot about my experience with endometriosis, and my blog can be found at www.bravehealing24.blogspot.com. And I'm adding a video blog component, which I'm doing tonight for the first time. I'm so excited. I just feel like it's so important for women to share their stories with endometriosis because there's a disgusting lack of knowledge in our culture about endometriosis. So many people that I run across have no idea what it is. And even if you Google it, all it says is one sentence, and it does nothing to show what endometriosis does to a woman's life. And I've had endometriosis for 18 years, and I'm 31, so that's my whole teenage and adult life. It began at 13, and just progressed to an insane level of severity. I've had 5 endometriosis surgeries, one of which I had a little over 3 weeks ago. And I've had a hysterectomy and an oophorectomy, so right now I just entered menopause at 31. And so if I have a hot flash during one of my vlogs, I'm going to whip out my handy fan and fan myself. This is the best fan ever. One of my best friends gave it to me, and it is the most useful thing I have. My favorite object is now this fan. So tonight I just wanted to introduce you and just give you a brief overview of what my experience has been, and tell you why I do my blog and why I want to advocate so much for the endometriosis patients of the world. When I was 13, my period started, and initially it was every other month would be bad. I was the girl that couldn't go to school, that would be curled up on the floor in the fetal position, crying and in so much pain. And I also tended to have a lot of GI, nausea, vomiting symptoms with my cycle. So frequently, every other month in the beginning, my dad would have to carry me to Henry Mayo, our local hospital here, and they would give me morphine and something for nausea and then send me home. And that went on for years, every other month. I would be severely, severely sick during my cycle. And I didn't realize that that wasn't normal. No one told me. When they gave us the talk in elementary school with the Jenny Story video, there was no mention of, hey, if you have these symptoms, talk to somebody about it. So I thought, and doctors helped to make me feel like I couldn't handle pain and that I was not strong enough to handle the cramps that people get from endometriosis, from periods. Sorry, excuse me. And that I just wasn't a physically strong, I didn't have a strong pain tolerance level, which made me feel badly about myself. Like I could not handle being a woman. So I struggled with that for years, and sought out a lot of medical treatment in my early 20s, because then it was really starting to impact my life. And it was no longer every month, it was every month, and it wasn't like 1 week for a normal cycle. It would be, say, 2 weeks of being miserably sick. And so I sought medical care, and unfortunately, my doctors mostly focused on GI testing. So I've had several colonoscopies, endoscopies, which showed nothing. And one of my GI doctors actually did the colonoscopy and then took some samples for biopsy. And when I went back for my results appointment, I was terrified because I was so sick. Something was wrong, And when you hear biopsy, you think cancer. So I was sure that I had colon cancer. And so the doctor came into the room and put the file down and said, you have no problems. Nothing is wrong with you. And I said, well, there's something wrong with me. And he said, well, yes, you wipe too hard when you go to the bathroom. So at first I laughed a little bit because I thought maybe this is some type of sick doctor humor joke or something. So I said, well, what do I do to help myself? And he said that I needed to increase my fiber in my diet and not wipe as hard when I go to the bathroom. So that infuriated me. So I did file a grievance against that doctor because that's ridiculous. And I really got the runaround with most of the doctors that I went to and have had the most insane things said to me by doctors, gynecologists, men and women both. I began to assume that the women gynecologists would be more sensitive to what was going on, and they were not. They were equally offensive to me. So I had my first diagnostic surgery St. Patrick's Day of 2010. So that's when I was diagnosed. And they did an ablation, and that was supposed to make me feel better. And I felt better for 2 or 3 months, and I felt really great. And I thought, great, now I can have a life. Because prior to that, I had no life. I was working, which was hard, and I had a lot of absences in my work due to my disease. And I had no interest in a romantic life because I just felt miserable and ugly, and anything romantic was the furthest thing from my mind. I had to cancel a lot of things with friends, and I lost a lot of friends that way. People will only take so many cancels before the invitations stop coming. I was going to graduate school, and I was missing classes, and that was hard. And it's very hard to try to live with this disease. And the treatments they were trying with me weren't working. We tried several birth control pills to control the hormone situation aspect of endometriosis, which is very estrogen driven, and nothing was working. And then one day a doctor said, well, there's this drug that's called Lupron, and it puts you into a chemically induced menopause state. So you don't have the monthly cycles, which means theoretically you shouldn't have any problems with your endometriosis because you're not having your monthly cycles. You get it's a 6-month treatment course. You get 1 shot per month, or they have 3-month shots, but I did 1 shot per month. So I thought, great, that's going to be my savior. It was not my savior. It was the worst decision I've ever made in my life. Because of Lupron, I tried that for 6 months. I now have a special type of hepatitis called NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which is non-viral, so it's not contagious. It's not Hep C. It's not something I got from a needle. It's something that the way my liver reacted to the drug in my body. Because Lupron is a prostate cancer chemo drug. So I was on prostate cancer chemo for my female endometriosis problem, which to this day boggles my mind. I think it needs to be pulled from the market. It ruined my teeth. I had to have 7 teeth crowns and cavities, and I had to have a root canal. In January, I had a teeth cleaning, and my teeth were fine. In July, I went back, and I had all of these problems, and it was right after my Lupron injection, and it is known that Lupron will screw up your teeth. So that was very expensive, fixing my teeth. So Lupron cost me my liver. And luckily we caught it early, and it's not something that is going to be a big issue for me right now, but it is something that ends up in cirrhosis of the liver, and I don't even drink. So that's another way that endometriosis has ruined an aspect of my life. So I had a lot of mistreatments, birth control pills, the Lupron shot, my ablation surgery didn't work. Nothing was working. And so I was at the end of my rope. I couldn't handle it anymore. My emotions and hormones were all over the place because we had tried so many different things, and I was so emotional and was just on this roller coaster. I was very depressed because I had no life. It was very hard. I have very few friends whom are amazing that stuck by me during this time because I was a nightmare. I couldn't go anywhere. I wasn't very much fun because I was bleeding all the time. I had incapacitating pain and nausea, and that's hard to be around. So I understand my friends that couldn't handle it. But it was very hard to watch these people whom have been in my life for years and years leave. So I decided on my own that I needed to have a hysterectomy. And I was 28 when I had it done. It took surgeon after surgeon after surgeon to find someone that would give a 28-year-old a hysterectomy. Now, I love the doctor that did it, and I have no ill feelings towards him at all. However, I wish I would have known that a hysterectomy is not a cure. I'm gonna cry. Is not a cure for endometriosis. It was a very hard decision to make, to give that up. I've never wanted children, ever. That's never been something I've wanted in my life. But to make the decision to take away that option forever was very difficult. The surgery was easy. My recovery was easy. I had a year and a half of the best year and a half of my life, and I lived it up. I got back in my yoga practice. I got really into my spiritual life, meditating, affirmations. I went through Reiki training, so I have level 3 Reiki certification. I really lived it up because I couldn't before, and now I was able to do so many things. I went camping all the time. I went on road trips. I had an amazing life. And at that point, I was sure that I had made the right decision because I was able to live my life. And then the disease came back, and it was devastating. I couldn't believe it when the symptoms started coming back because I had told myself that this was the cure, that I was done suffering. And it was gut-wrenching when they came back. And I tried to hide it for as long as I could because I felt like a failure. There's a lot of guilt and shame, at least in my experience, that accompanies my endometriosis. And I'm getting a little bit of a hot flash, so I'm just going to fan a little bit while I talk. It was very hard to admit that it had come back. And so I went to a doctor that I had seen previously, and he said, well, the only thing I can do for you is Lupron. And I said, I can't have Lupron. I already did it. It was awful for me. I will not do Lupron. And he said to me, if you won't do what I'm suggesting, then obviously you don't feel as bad as you're saying. Which was a complete dismissal of the awful experience that I was going through. And I didn't see any other choice, so I took the Lupron injection. I took one 3-month injection at this time. And 1 month later, I was admitted to a hospital and I had very high liver numbers because my liver was messed up. And I quit the Lupron at that point because I had a gallbladder attack between January and June of last year, 2014. I was admitted to a hospital 6 times, and I stayed a week, up to a week each time, 3, 4 days, and then one time for an entire week. And I was not in good health at all. I had to have my gallbladder removed, and I'm willing to bet that my gallbladder was covered in endometriosis, because later I found out that my liver and my ribs had disease on them. So I would not be surprised if my problem with my gallbladder was endometriosis related, because they never found any gallstones. But because I had 2 attacks within like 2 weeks, they decided to take it out. And again, I felt really great after for about a month. And then I had problems again. And it was too much. It was too much. I was 30, trying to live my life, start a career, maybe start thinking about having a romantic life, just trying to get the momentum of a normal life. And I couldn't. Every step forward, one step forward, it was almost like 20 steps backwards. And it was very difficult to deal with. And people didn't understand, because you can look okay. Like right now, today, I feel like I look okay. And I'm in a lot of pain today. And people will say, well, you don't look like you don't look sick. Well, just because you don't look sick doesn't mean there's not havoc being wreaked in your body. And so I did a lot of internet research and learned about something called excision surgery, which is when a specially trained OBGYN surgeon will go in and he excises the endometriosis. So there's techniques that they use to remove the endometriosis from the organ without damaging the organ, to try to avoid scar tissue, because when you have scar tissue, endometriosis loves scar tissue, and scar tissue loves endometriosis. So adhesions and endo go hand in hand. And so I found 2 renowned specialists of excision surgery in California, where I live. Unfortunately, they were both in Northern California, Palo Alto, and Los Gatos. So I went and had excision surgery. They found disease all over the place. I had my ovary was stuck to my vaginal cuff. I had my liver stuck to my ribs. My appendix was covered in endometriosis, and it looked like I had had appendicitis, and it had not been treated, because when you go in with pelvic pain and you have endo, they don't even test for other things because they assume it's just your endometriosis. So I had my appendix removed at that time, and he did a lot of work in there. And so I had that done June 17th, 2014. My recovery was really hard. I felt really great, and so I started doing things too soon. And so then I kind of crashed back down, and it took me about 4 months to fully recover. It was a big surgery. Now, I fast forward from June, when I had my surgery, to December of 2014, and my symptoms started returning. And again, I tried to ignore it. Ignoring it doesn't work. So any of my sisters out there, don't try to ignore your symptoms. It does not help. So I tried to call a surgeon to get a phone consultation. And my because they did phone consultations for free. My phone consultation was very disappointing. I was trying to explain my symptoms to the doctor on the phone, and I felt really written off by his response. And we spoke for 8 minutes, which I don't really feel is sufficient to get the whole story. And I just felt written off. He said I needed to see a dietitian. Now, I was having the exact same pain that I was having before, so why would I assume that it's something different? Logic says, I think that if I felt the same way before surgery, and that was what it was found, that later when I feel the same way, that I do the same thing and the same thing will be found. To me, that makes sense. So I felt completely written off and did not know what to do. So I went to my primary care doctor, whom I love, and she referred me to an OBGYN where I live. And she said basically, I have 25 years of experience doing endometriosis, and your case is so complicated, you're way out of my skill set. I need to refer you to UCLA. So I got a referral to UCLA, and I just had surgery 3 weeks ago, a little over 3 weeks ago. I had an oophorectomy, which means they remove ovaries. So I went into something called surgical menopause, and I'm still recovering from that right now. I had 5 incisions done, and emotionally, I feel great. So many aspects of myself have changed now because of this surgery, which I'll get into in later blogs. But I just wanted to give an overview of my experience, and I want to tell you why I blog. Blog and then now video vlog. One is selfish. I think it helps me to vent out what I go through, because I don't want to burden my friends every day with the drama that happens with endometriosis. And it's just kind of freeing to just put it all out there, and people can read it or not read it. It helps myself. Another reason is I hope that my writing and sharing my stories, because I do get very intimate and personal in my writing about what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. I hope that fellow endometriosis sisters read that and understand that they truly aren't alone, and that if they ever needed anything, I'm totally here to offer any support that I can. My email address is listed in many of my blog posts. So I just want to make myself available to anybody that I can help. I've had many times during this time where I've wanted to kill myself because I felt so alone and so written off by the medical profession as just being crazy. And so I understand how you get to that dark place. And if there's any way I can help somebody get out of that dark place, that would make my whole journey of this worthwhile. So if any of you sisters are reading, or not reading, listening, I'm so not used to this yet, listening to this right now, please, if you're in that dark space, contact me and I will talk to you. Whatever you need support wise, I will try to do what I can. So I'll give you my email now. It's funny. It's a cardigan lover, all spelled normal, a cardigan lover @gmail.com, because every day of my life I wear a cardigan basically, except right now I've got a vest thing, but I do have a sweater on, so that kind of counts. And another reason I blog is because I'm really trying to start like a revolution for awareness of endometriosis. It is disgusting to me how little knowledge people have of endometriosis. And even if they know what it is, maybe with some little knowledge about it, I think people have no idea what it does to a woman's life. It touches every aspect of your life, and not in a good way. And so I hope that my sharing, both with writing and now with speaking, I hope that I can shine some light on this disease, because it gets no attention. And I just want to help raise awareness. So I do want to recommend some books before we end. Some books that have helped me through my journey. The first one is Meditations to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Louise Hay is amazing. If you don't know who she is, you need to Google her and look at all of her incredible books. And she's incredible. You can flip through and find, various meditations and affirmations. And this book is very, very, very useful. So that one I highly recommend. And then another Louise Hay is called You Can Heal Your Life. This is an older version, but there's a chart in here where you can find diseases. You look up particular diseases and conditions, and it'll give you particular affirmations for those diseases. So for endometriosis, the affirmation, which is kind of awesome, is I am both powerful and desirable. It is wonderful to be a woman. I love myself and I am fulfilled. So let's just, I love myself and I am fulfilled. Powerful, right? Powerful. So I highly recommend Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. It's an amazing, amazing healing book. And then another one of my I have another Louise Hay. Inner Wisdom. This is kind of a smaller version of Meditations to Heal Your Life. There's various quotes and little meditations. I am in the right place. So here's the affirmation page, and then they have a little meditation that goes along with it. And there's various topics. This one, I am good enough. My love is limitless. Louise Hay. You gotta explore Louise Hay if you don't know who she is. And finally, one of my new favorite is Gabby Bernstein. This book is called Miracles Now. Now, she developed this. It's kind of like a tarot deck, but in a book. So there's 108 meditations in this book. And how she designed it is she wants you to think about whatever issue it is you're thinking and struggling about. And so you think about it and then just openly flip to one. And then so mine I got, which could be appropriate in my life. Sometimes no is the most loving response. And then there's a meditation. Sometimes there's breathing techniques in here, and she's just amazing. I actually got to meet her. So my Gabby Bernstein book is signed, which makes it even more special. So I highly recommend Gabby Bernstein. And while I was preparing to do this video entry today, I stumbled upon this magical book of my own from 2011, and I kind of made this like collage scrapbook situation here. I was kind of going through a femininity thing, and I found this affirmation that I had written in here that I wanted to share kind of as a closing. Okay. I am both powerful and desirable. It is wonderful to be a woman. I love myself and I am fulfilled. So I'm going to try to do a video, hopefully maybe twice a week, I'm thinking, and then do blogging the other days. So I'd like to link this with that. So if I didn't already give my blog address, it's www.bravehealing24.blogspot.com. And I hope you enjoyed my introduction video. They won't normally be this long, I don't think. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you're an endo sister, I'm with you. Please feel free to contact me for any support you need and know that you are not alone. And if you don't have endometriosis, a big thank you for taking a half an hour to watch this, and I hope you learned something about what endometriosis means in the lives of the women that suffer with it. So I just want to close with just a moment and a deep breath. So I hope you got something out of this tonight. And I look forward to doing another video soon. So thank you so much for watching, and peace, and I love you. Thank you.